Tactical Guy 1 here from the YouTube world, making another video to show you how officers commit perjury, but not only that, how you can catch them. And this is one of the reasons why it's very important you have to file a discovery motion, and while a lot of attorneys, in my opinion, do not file them because they know that once they get discovery that you might see can help you in your case and prove that you're innocent, then it's harder for them to convince you that you have to take some type of plea deal. So that's what I think. Now, in this case, this person was stopped because the officer said he saw that this car was in violation of 21658A VC. So the officer goes on to say that an enforcement stop was initiated and I contacted the driver through the open driver's side window. While speaking with the subject, I detected the objective signs of alcohol intoxication, whatever that means. I asked the subject a series of pre-FST questions and administered a series of pre-FST tests, which the subject failed to perform as explained and demonstrated. I placed the subject under arrest for a violation of 23152A California Vehicle Code. Now, the person said that the officer was doing something with putting one hand palm up and then the other one clapping the hand palm up, then palm down, then palm up, then palm down at a certain speed. And when he would do that, the officer changed it and said, no, 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 this is what I did. So he would blatantly lie and say that he actually did something else. The guy actually said he thought he was in a movie or something because it seemed really bizarre that this officer would just lie to him in his face while he's watching him. I mean, how can you explain that? It's pretty weird, I'm sure. So the officer then goes on to perjure himself by signing this. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. And then he puts the date, the time, County of Los Angeles, California, and he commits perjury by signing it right here. And he prints his name and he puts his badge number or employee number. Okay, so that's what happened in the beginning. So of course, after he arrests the defendant, he takes the defendant to the hospital and does a blood test request by peace officer at some medical center. Now, it's kind of weird because if an officer believes you are under the influence, he will ask you if you want to do the breathalyzer or if you want to do a blood withdrawal. But if he believes you are sober and he still arrests you for DUI, he won't even give you a breathalyzer because now you can't prove that you were sober. It's almost like you have to pretend to be under the influence if you feel like you're going to be arrested for a DUI. That way you can have proof later on when he takes you to a hospital or gives you a breathalyzer that you were not under the influence. It's almost like black is white, white is black, up is down, down is up. So they do that because the average person isn't going to think that way. They're going to think that officers are going to follow the law, which is not the case most of the time. Um, Then the officer has to certify that he has probable cause to believe that the sample obtained will provide evidence that the person being tested was driving a motor vehicle in violation of Vehicle Code Section 23140, 23152, or 23153. And he signs it right here. But then the kicker is that the person, of course, if you're sober, I mean, I don't drive under the influence, so I would sign this if I feel I'm going to be arrested for whatever reason. Then I would even slur a little bit just so he can take me to the hospital, and then I can go ahead and get this blood withdrawal so that they can see that I'm sober, or I can have proof later on when I file for discovery. So, consent to blood test. I, the undersigned, do hereby consent to the withdrawal of a blood sample from my body. I certify that I am not a person who is afflicted by hemophilia or a person who is afflicted with a heart condition and using an anticoagulant. Okay, then you date, time, there's a witness there, and then that's where the patient signs it. Okay, um, then the person still, gets taken to jail and he has to bail out, and eventually he files discovery. Okay, and well, wouldn't you know here that remember he was charged for being under the influence 23152A VC and the BAC. The result and interpretation come back as 0.03% BAC. So can you imagine that? He was pretty much sober. Now, Many people say, well, one beer is too many beers. I mean, hey, I agree that you should not be driving and drinking, but at the same time, everybody is different, and other people have different beliefs than me. So, I'm not gonna impose my beliefs on other people or what I believe they should or shouldn't do. We're all gonna do whatever we want to do. But at the end of the day, when you are thrown in jail and charged with a crime, and the officer knows that you are not under the influence, but simply making up, stories. They usually say that you have red eyes, watery eyes, slurred speech. There's an alcohol odor coming from you or emanating from you. All this nonsense. That's exactly what they do every single time. In this case, I'm surprised he didn't put that, but either way, this guy went to jail for nothing. This case took about 5 months, almost 6 months, and at the time after the case was dismissed, I was upset because he didn't want to file a lawsuit. And I understand that not everyone is gonna, file lawsuits against officers. And his reason was because he was actually scared. And he told me straight out, he said, you know what, I just don't want any problems and I don't want them to come back after me again. So he felt like they were going to retaliate if he were to file something. And I don't blame him because maybe they would have. Who knows? And that's the sad part. We're in the United States of America, and that's how people feel. And yeah, we're the land of the free, home of the brave. So I always tell people, if it's me, and I can file a lawsuit, I will, because in my opinion, if you feed a stray dog, the next day he'll be back for more, and then eventually they get used to it, and before you know it, they're just gonna call you a customer because you pay every ticket they give you. That's just my opinion. Will they retaliate if you try to do something? Of course. I mean, it's a possibility, but at the end of the day, I believe I have to do something to make this country better. And I don't know it all, but what I can do, I'll do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop now because I'm already rambling here. And thanks for watching, guys. Please share this with everyone so they may benefit from this video as well. Godspeed.